Hello everyone, it's your local emergency manager and happy Thanksgiving. Today is the feast day of St. Colman of Cloyne. So St. Colman of Cloyne is actually a pretty interesting saint to me because he's the saint that I like to jokingly tell people that I was named after, even though that is not true at all. My parents did not know about St. Colman of Cloyne until I told them about him. But it's still funny because my older brother calls me Cloyd, which kind of rhymes with Cloyne. And my name is Cole. My grandma calls me Coleman. So it all makes sense. So in a way, I'm kind of named after St. Colman of Cloyne. So let's get on to his story. So Colman's father was named Lennon. Through his father, Colman appears to have been descended of the Routridge family. The Routridges were an obscure people who were known elsewhere as the subject people of the Diocese of Munster. Irish genealogies, however, associate Colman's lineage with the leading ruling dynasty of Munster. It is believed that Colman became a cleric at a somewhat later age than usual at the time. Tradition claims that it was Saint Brendan of Clonfert who finally persuaded him to do so. Colman is remembered as the founder of the monastery of Cloyne in County Cork, Ireland, in Munster. It is said that Colman and his brothers were at one time royalty, but they were kicked out by the group that was overthrowing them. For this reason, his descendants were forever excluded from royal rule. Colman is also said to have uttered a curse that brought down the walls of the city of Rasad. Colman first founded Colman's Chapel, which survived until 1813. Colman is also believed to have founded a monastery at what would become Killog Abbey in County Kerry. Further details of his life are not documented in writing, but the connection of many places in the counties of Cork and Limerick with his name to this day proves the reality of his labors. Colman was credited with extraordinary poetic powers, being styled by his contemporaries as the quote-unquote royal poet of Munster. Several of his Irish poems still exist, notably a poem about Saint Brendan. It is unclear whether or not he was brought up as a Christian, but what is sure is that he was educated and became a bard or file, which required special education. To reach the highest level of file, 12 years of study was required. As a member of the class of Feely, he became attached to the court of Cashel, where he remained until about the age of 48. In 570, he and Saint Brendan of Clonfert were said to have settled a dispute between rivals to the throne of Cashel, and Oudkeom was acknowledged as king. He was the first Christian king of Cashel. The king was installed by Saint Brendan. During the time of the coronation, Colman and some others discovered the lost shrine of Saint Aelb of Emily. Brendan said that it was not right that the hands which had held his sacred relic should be defiled henceforth. Thus, it was the son of Lennon that offered himself to God. Brendan blessed him and gave him the name of Colman. Colman then went to the school of St. Jarlath of Tuam, and after his studies then preached to the heathen population of the east of County Cork. He is described as a religious and holy presbyter, and afterward became a famous bishop. The Prince of Dicey, in the present county of Waterford, presented his child to Colman for baptism. Colman baptized him de Clan and urged his parents to educate him well in the faith. This child became Saint de Clan. Colman was given churches in Erie and Killenaw, 4 and 10 miles from Cashel, Munster, by the King of Munster, as well as lands in Cloyne, County Cork. It may well be the lands in Cloyne were conquered lands, and to prevent the possibility of reconquest was given to the church. The Cloyne estate was large and contained some of the best lands in the area. After the king's death in 580, Colman somehow became involved in factional strife between the descendants of Cloyne, in which some of them persecuted him, while others, the ancestors of the later dominant line, protected Colman. His surviving verses date from the period 565 and 604 and are among the earliest examples of Irish writing in the Latin alphabet. He is commonly thought to have composed Luin ach Leib, a poem in praise of Domhnall mac Murchurtaigh, king of Tara, who died in 566, and another poem on the death of Aed Slane, king of Ui Neil, who died in 604. The latter poem did not survive completely. Saint Colman is the patron saint of the Diocese of Cloyne and of Irish poets. His feast day is celebrated every year on November the 24th. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. Bye guys.